Okay, properties. This is chapter 3.3, by the way. In your textbook, it's properties. Properties of logarithms. No. There it is. Properties of logarithms. Some of the older books or worksheets or textbooks, they used to call it this, LOL. Well, I'm telling you, I've been teaching for over 20 years. And before there were cell phones, and before there was Snapchat and all this other stuff, LOL meant laws, and it still does, of logarithms. They call them properties or they call them laws. Properties or laws of logarithms. There's these certain rules, these certain laws in this world of logarithms that you have to follow. You have to follow these rules or else you're just going to do everything wrong. Okay? Now what I'm going to tell you here is something that you've already accepted. You've accepted and you learned this, and we've actually been doing this here in this class of math operations. What are the basic operations of math? Well, there's adding, there's subtracting, there's multiplying and dividing. You know when you see two things that need to be added what to do. You know when you see division. You know when you see multiplication. You know what you have to do. 5 plus 3 is not going to give you the same answer as 5 take away 3 is not going to give you the same answer as 5 times 3. Right? But you understand when you see these operations in mathematics, it's pretty universal. But I'm telling you, you've broken these rules. You've already learned somewhere when it says add and you didn't add. You've already seen somewhere in something in some topic and section in math where it said subtract and you didn't subtract. And the same thing with multiply. Okay, I'm going to tell you in Algebra 2 where you broke these operations, where it said to do something and you didn't do that. Okay, I'm going to show you here. Let's review Algebra 2. Algebra 1, Algebra 2, as a matter of fact. You started learning this in Algebra 1, Algebra 2 review, where you broke these rules. And this is what they're calling these properties or these laws, because in this world of logarithm, if it says multiply, you don't multiply. If it says divide, you don't divide. If it says an exponent, it doesn't mean exponent. And this is where you got to watch out. It doesn't mean what it says it means. Okay? Let me tell you where you learned in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, one of these examples where it said to do something, but you didn't do it. Right? Here's an example where it said to multiply and you didn't. Ready? Who can give me the answer for this? M to the power of 3 times m to the power of 5. Because that operation is multiplication, isn't it? Correct. You see? It says multiply and you did not multiply. What is the rule for? Oh, look at interesting. For exponents? Oh, what is the rule for exponents? Because remember, we're doing that. This is part of logarithms, bases and exponents. The operation says multiply, but you didn't multiply. What did you do? You didn't put M15, right? You didn't multiply and put M15. You put what? You did what? You added them. And you're like, well, why? Why is the answer not M15? Why is the answer M8? Anybody remember this? Why the answer is M8? Why? Why is that true for exponents when it says to multiply that you actually add? Well, because M3 times M5, or you can write it in parentheses like this. It doesn't matter, multiply. Because this one means you already know how to interpret exponents. That this means that there's 3 of these. M to the power of 3, that means there's 3 of these that are already being multiplied. I'm multiplying 3 m's. And then I'm going to multiply that with how many more? With 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you tell me how you're going to get 15. Do you see why the answer is M8? Yeah, because if I have 3 here, and then I'm just going to put 5 more here, isn't that adding? Yeah. But my point is the operation said multiplication, and you didn't, and we didn't multiply. You have to learn for exponents that what it says is not what you really do, yeah? You see? Thus you get M8. Okay, so you guys remember that. You're like, oh yeah, we did. It says multiply and it didn't multiply. I had to add. Okay, let me show you the one for division. Ready? Where it says division and you didn't divide. Anybody know? Anybody remember where you learned something division but you didn't divide and you did some other operation? Yeah, but what was the, like a problem? But
M5 divided by M3.
Again, with exponents. See? With exponents. Anytime it has to do with exponents, pretty much whatever it says to do, it's like, watch out, don't do that. What is M6 divided by M2? See, that's division. That's a division sign like this. Boop, that's division. What is M6 divided by M2? Oh, come on, mister. 6 divided by 2 is 3. I'm smart. Is the answer M3? Is it M to the power? No, 6 divided by 2 is 3, right? Yeah, that's not the answer. What's the answer? M6 divided by M2 is what? You didn't divide. M4. You subtracted. Remember that? Anybody remember that? How you subtracted? Why is it M4? Why is it M4? You did not divide. It said divide, but see, whatever the operation says, you actually don't do that. You do something else. Everybody agree it's M4? Again, when dealing with exponents. And when dealing with exponents, you're kind of going into that world of logarithms where what it says is not what it means. Okay, why is it M4? Anybody can explain why M6? Why is it true that M6 divided by M2 is M4? Why is it that M6 divided by M2 is M4? Why is it that you subtract and you don't divide? Well, because M6 means you got how many up here? Yeah, this should be like review for you. You're like, oh yeah, I did learn that. There should be 6 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that are like multiplying together. And then how many are down here? 2. And then you kind of just learned, well, doesn't one of these like divide out and then this other one divides out? So like and then you're like, well, how much is left over? Isn't that subtract? Yeah. It says division, but you didn't do division. You did subtract. Okay, I think you get the point, right? And that's why you're left with M4. There's only 4 left over. Yeah. So when dealing with exponents, when it says multiply, you don't multiply, you add. Remember that? You come back to this. And when it says divide, you don't divide. You subtract. Okay? All right. And then there's one other rule, but that one you didn't learn in Algebra 1 or Algebra 2. You're gonna learn it now for... Okay, so now for these properties of logarithms. Here's the first property. Ready? The first property is, where's my, here it is. These LOLs, these laws of logarithms. Here's the law number 1, or property number 1 in the world of logarithms and exponents. Ready? Here it is. This is what it says. Log with any base. When you have a logarithm with whatever base, right? The little b means base. of mn. The book has mn like this, like two things together like this. When you see a logarithm with two things like this, it means what? Who can tell me what property is, what operation, what math operation is happening here? What does it mean when you have two things together like that? Multiplication, right? Multiplication, like if I put 3x, doesn't that mean 3 times x? But you don't put the dot, right? You don't put the dot. Same thing here. We'll put a dot, okay? Multiplication, or you can put parentheses, but honestly, it doesn't need it. If you see two things that are like that together, it means multiplication. Multiplication doesn't mean multiplication. What does it mean? Well, what did we do in multiplication before? What did it mean before in multiplication? Multiplication means what? Remember back to this one? When we did multiply with exponents, you didn't multiply them, you added them, right? Remember that? Same thing here. Log base b of m times m is going to be this. The log with the same base of the first one plus what? Plus, it turns into addition, same thing. Plus what? Log b, bless you, of the second one. Bless you again. So we're multiplying an m, whatever this number or value is, times another one. In logarithms, when you multiply things or things are being multiplied, you don't multiply. They expand. They expand, but you don't interpret it as a multiplication. Multiplication means what? What does it mean? Addition. Remember, whatever it says, it really doesn't mean it in the world of logarithms. Multiplication means or translates to what? Addition. This is how they write the general formula, and it's like, what the heck is that? What is this? There's not even any numbers here. How could I understand this? There's not even any numbers here. What is that? What is that? Obviously, that's dumb. Okay, well, here we go. You can handle it. You guys understand that multiplication means it expands to an addition? Yeah. Okay, so let's see some examples, and you'll see how easy this is going to be. Where is there's a paper I had. Just had it right here. Here it is. Okay, here we go. Number 1. And it's going to say expand each logarithm. That's what it's going to say. We're going to expand it. This said multiplied it and you expanded it or you interpreted it to what it meant to say. Okay. So what if I have number 1, log 2x? Oh, I forgot a base. Log 6, 2x. How would you expand log 6 to 2x? Well, isn't this really log 6 of 2 times x? Yeah, it's multiplication. And what does multiplication mean? What does it interpret to? Into an addition, yeah? So how are you going to write it? Log with the same base of the first one plus what? Log base 6 of the second one, right? X. That's it. Are we okay? It's not difficult, yeah? It's just, I'm just telling you what it's gonna, whatever the operation is, you got to understand what it really means and what it translates to in this world of logarithms. Okay, let's do it. Are we good? Can I go? Yeah? Any questions? That's it. You're just translating. You're just interpreting. You're just telling me, okay, this says multiplication. It doesn't mean that. It means this. You're expanding it. Okay, number 2. What if I have log base 3 of 5 times 6? Well, log base 3 of 5 times 6, what does that expand to be? Well, multiplication does not mean to multiply. It means to separate this and expand this, and it's going to mean what? Log base 3 of the first one, what? Plus, right? It's an addition. Plus what? The next one? Yeah. That's it. That's all you're doing. You're just understanding what you're just interpreting, okay? You just have to understand these laws and what it means in the world of logarithm. Okay, one last one for multiply. I think you got it, okay? What if I put log 2 ABC? What's that? What's happening right there?
Log 2a plus log 2b plus log 2.
Thank you. Isn't this multiplication? When you don't see any, and they're like that together, it's multiplication, yes? Yeah, you got to know that. This really is a times a b times a c. Oh yeah, it's all together like that. Okay, so then how do you interpret this, or what does this mean? Multiplication does not mean multiplication. In the world of logarithms, this interprets to log 2 of the first one plus,
Log
yeah,
2b
plus.
log 2c.
Okay, are we good? Don't forget the first law, because there's only 3 laws. I'm telling you, by the time I tell you the third one, you're gonna mix them all up. Don't mix them all up. Multiplication expands to an addition. Are we good with multiplication? Yeah. That's law number 1. Are we good? Law number 1? Law number 1, a multiplication does not mean multiplication. It means addition. Okay, let's go to law number 2. Second law, we're almost done. Actually, they get easier instead of getting harder. Law number 2, or property number 2 of logarithms says this, and I think you're already gonna know the answer. Law number 2 says a logarithm, which with whatever base it has, of m divided by n. Isn't that a division? Yeah, when you have something over something like that, that's a division. What do you think a division is going to mean?
Subtraction.
Oh my God. You guys took this class already or what? Correct. Didn't we just say that earlier, that division, you don't divide it? Yes. So what am I going to write? Somebody tell me what to write. Log b of m.
Minus.
Yeah, not divided by, right? Minus, or just think of this little division. You see the division sign? Just think of it like like a takeaway sign, right? But hopefully that will help you something. Log b of whatever the top one is. Always the top one, subtract what? And then the same thing, log with the same base of the bottom one. When you look at this, does this make sense to you, what it's saying? Remember, math is a language. If you can read it and understand what's going on, you'll understand it. There's no numbers here. Do you understand what this is saying to you? Yeah. That in logarithms, division, let's write this down. Division expands into a what? It doesn't mean division, right? Or division means or expands into what? Subtraction. Thank you, subtraction. Okay. All right, let's look at some quick examples because I think you got it already. Okay. So again, it's going to say expand each logarithm, but I'm just going to put expand, okay? Number one, what if I have log base 7 of x over 4? Well, log base 7 of x divided by division divided by 4, what is that going to mean? Well, log base 7 of the top one, the numerator, divided by? No. What does it mean? Subtract. Take away what? Log base 7 of the, well, 4 here, right? The bottom one. That's all you're doing. Okay, I think you got that. Ready for a tough one? Okay, number 2. What else can I put there that's you're not gonna see the division, right? What if I have this? Ready? Let me see if you can handle this. Log base 3 of 2x over 5. Let's see who gets this one right. We're like, well, what do you mean? That's a division. That's easy. Isn't it log 3? Oh, let me just write it again. Wouldn't that be log base 3 of the top one, which is 2x, minus log 3 of the bottom, the denominator, which is 5? Everybody get this answer? Everybody got this answer? Andy says no. Anybody else got a different answer? Okay, then you know what? Andy's the only right one. If this is where you stopped, it's wrong. Andy, tell him why.
Because the 2x is multiplying between the sides.
Isn't that a property there? That's a multiplication. We just learned that. And you forgot it already. This is law number 1. Here, there's a law number 1 happening. So are we done expanding this logarithm? No. This is law number 1. This is multiplication. What does multiplication expand to? So really, the answer for this one is what? Log 3 of what? 2 plus what? Log 3 of what? X. And then what? Minus log 3. You see that? And how do you know when you're done? Well, there should only be like one thing here. There shouldn't be anything multiplying. There shouldn't be anything dividing. Oh, by the way, this is the weird thing. In logarithms, in this world of logarithms, you can only do 3 things. You can only do multiply, and you can only do divide. Well, that's 2. Well, I haven't showed you the third law. I haven't showed you the third law. In logarithms, you can only multiply and you can only divide. There's no adding. Well, you'll see it expands to adding or an expand, but you can only multiply. Okay, let me do another one. Number 3. Number 3. Log base 5 of 6 over 4m. Okay, that's going to be log 6. Oh, no. Log base 5 of 6 over 4m. Isn't that going to be, well, first of all, there's division. The top one, subtract the bottom one? Yeah. So that's going to be log base 5 of 6. You guys agree? Take away what? Log 5 of what? 4? No, it's the top. Take away the bottom. What's in the bottom? 4m. Okay, can we agree that's what the first thing I got to do? But then do we also agree this is not finished? Why?
4m.
Because this expands into a what? Addition. Okay. So then do you agree it's going to be this? Log 5 of 6 minus, tell me what to write over here. Tell me, oh, this is again law number what? Law number 1. I can't have two things being multiplied. I can still expand that. So that's going to be log 5 of what? 4. What? Plus what? Log 5 of what? M? Okay, everybody agree? Are we done?
Yeah.
We're done. This is your final answer? Are you guys look at your work? Is this what you have? Okay, raise your hand if you have a different answer. Raise your hand nice and high if you have a different answer. Cecilia might be the only one that's right. This is the wrong answer. Cecilia, tell them what? Tell them what you're thinking.
Instead of addition or the last part, it's subtraction.
You're telling me that this one should be a minus? She's right. Tell them why, Cecilia. We're dividing? No, this is 4 times m. Oh, you said the right thing, but you have the wrong reason. I'm going to tell you why. Ready? You see how we got to this point and it's this, take away this? Yeah? But then, when you separated this, you got to understand that this subtract, this negative sign, has to apply to everything that happens after it. You guys agree with that? That's called what? Distributive property? See, you only did the negative for the 4. You're supposed to what? Yes or no? Yeah. It's like when you have negative 2 times x plus 4. See, when you have a negative, it goes to both. So actually, the correct and final expansion here is log 5, 6 minus what? Log 5, 4. And then what? Minus log 5m. Okay. I'm going to continue the notes and finish them tomorrow. Yeah? There's more. And it's going to get a lot more complicated. And you still got to see the third law. Okay.